Day two. Hopefully, you remember a lot of this stuff. If not, it's okay. So, day two. Let's make sure it's recording. And it is. All right. So, Alan's water bill contains the following information. He used 161,600 cubic feet of water. The total cost of water he used is $34.80. What's the price? Which price is closest to the cost per gallon of water that he used? Well, we have a little key here that says 1 cubic foot of water equals 7.48 gallons of water. So a cubic foot, imagine a cube, okay, that's 1 foot all around, okay, and you pour water in here. So this would have 1 gallon of water, right? 1 cubic foot. So we have 1,600 cubic feet. Let's multiply that by 7.48, and we'll find out how much water he used. So it's a lot of water. 1,600 times 7.48. He used 11,968 gallons of water. Jeez. Gallons of water, right? And therefore, how much did he pay here? What do we want here? The price per. Okay, so let me erase this guy over here. So now I know that he used that much, and how much was each gallon? And he paid a total of $34.80 per for 11,968. So let's find the unit rate. I think this is the topic, unit rate. So to find the unit rate, right? We're going to divide both top and bottom by 11,968. 11,968, or quick way, just divide these two, it's the same thing. So we get that 1 gallon, right? This divided by this is 1, and $34.80 divided by 11,968 equals 0.0. And again, if you look at your calculator, 0.002907754. So these guys are going 4 decimal places. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're looking at something that looks like 0.0029, less than a penny per gallon of water, and we have it right here. Water comes out of Lay's garden hose at a rate of 1 gallon per 1/4 of a minute. So 1 gallon, you get 1/4 of a minute. What is the unit rate at which water flows out of Lay's garden hose? So the unit rate, we want it per minute, right? So in 1 minute, how much? Well, again, you got choices over here. So if you wanted to write this as 0.25 per minute, that would be the same thing. So and then in this case, if you wrote it as a decimal, you can divide this by 0.25 and divide the top by 0.25, and you're going to get 4 gallons in 1 minute. If you left it as a fraction, the only thing you have to remember that when you're dividing, right? If you divide by 1/4, so 1/4, and you're going to divide by 1/4, it actually means 1/4 times 4 because you're multiplying by the reciprocal. So you're actually multiplying this by 4 and the top times 4. 1/4 times 4, this will simplify to just 1 minute. And 1 gallon times 4 is 4 gallons. So your unit rate, right? Remember, unit rate, we're comparing to something with a unit of 1. 4 gallons in 1 minute makes us have the answer of C. And actually, just like by looking at the multiple choices, because the question says unit rate, this could have been, that would have been out, and that would have been out. Okay, and you would have had to focus between 3/4 and 4 gallons per minute. Okay, so it definitely helps to eliminate some of the multiple choice answers. So, or if you know that 1/4, right? 1/4 of a minute. So a minute has 1/4 of a minute, another 1/4, another 1/4, another 1/4. So in 1/4 of a minute, you have 1 gallon. Another 1/4 of a minute, you had a gallon. Another 1/4 of a minute, you had a gallon. Another 1/4 of a minute, you also had a gallon. So every 15 seconds, you had a gallon, which means that in 60 seconds, which is the same thing as 1 minute, you would have had 4 gallons. So several ways of approaching Um, let's do 4. John ran 1 1/4 laps in 2 minutes. So I'm gonna, well, let me just write this. Laps in 2 minutes. We want the unit rate. So we want to know how much he ran in 1 minute. Divide this by 2 and divide this by 2. You have a calculator at home. So you don't really have to change this. But if you were to change this, you would actually get 5/4 divided by 2, right? Changing 1 1/4. And that's the same thing as 5/4 times 1/2. So that gives you 5/8. So this would actually be 5/8 of a lap in 1 minute. So is there anything that looks like 5/8? Yeah, there is. 8. Letter A, sorry. 2. Michelle bought something, the same fabric on 3 different occasions and recorded data below. What was the price per yard of fabric? So you want the unit rate. So assuming that this is proportional, right? It's multiplying by the same thing times something here, which is the same constant proportionality, right? To get that, you can pick any of these. So let's just pick the first one. So you end up paying $2.53 for 2.2 yards. You want to find out what's the price of 1 yard. So 1 yard. All you got to do is divide these two. 2.53 divided by 2.2 yards. You get $1.15. So 1 yard. What's $1.15? Divide this by 2.2. Divide this by 2.2, and you get C. 5. Recipe calls for 2/3 cup of water to make 2 1/2 cups of sauce. What would be the amount of water needed to make 10 cups of sauce? So 2/3 cups of butter. I need 2.5 cups of what do you call it? 2.5, no, 2.5 cups of sauce. If I were to use 10, if I needed 10, right? If I needed 10 cups of sauce, how much butter would I need? Well, in this case, you can find the multiplier here, right? Well, let me write the multiplier. So 2.5 times what equals 10? So you can divide 10 divided by 2.5, and you get that the multiplier is 4. So 2.5 times 4 is 10, so I multiply the top by 4. And 2/3 times 4, it's 8/3. Do we have an 8/3? We don't, so we're going to change this to a mixed number. 3 goes into 8 2 times, and 2/3 left over. So 2 2/3 cups of butter, and that is just letter C. Megan uses 2/3 cups of butter to make 4 cups of almond trail trail mix. 2/3 cups of almonds. Did I say almonds? Almonds for 4 cups of trail mix. I'll just write trail. So if I had to make 9 cups of trail mix, how much almonds would I need? I'm using a proportion. So again, find your multiplier. So I'll write multiplier over here. Right? So 4 times what is 9? So you can divide 9 by 4. Do you get a nice number? You get 2.25. The multiplier is going to be 2.25 over here too. And you're probably better off because let's see what do you call? You're probably better off because the answer here, if you look at the multiple choices, is on fractions. So instead of writing 2.25, I'm going to write 2 1/4, which is the same thing. So I'm going to multiply 2/3 times 2 1/4. 2/3 times 2 1/4, which I'm going to change to a mixed number. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9/4. Now I can simplify this one and this one, and this one and this one, and I get 3/2, which is the same thing as 1 1/2, right? Because 2 goes into 3 one time, 1 left over 2. So I need 1 1/2 cups of almonds. So 8. 10. The length of 3 sides of a triangle are in the ratio of 3, 4, and 5, and the perimeter of the triangle is 48 inches. So think about triangle, right? So the sides So if this is 3, not 3, but we don't know the side, so it's 3x. This one is 4x, and this one is 5x, right, in that proportion. So we know that if I added these three numbers, it would give us 48, so let's do that. 3x plus 4x plus 5x, isn't that what perimeter is, adding all the sides? If I added all the sides, I get 48. 3x plus 4x is 7x, 7x plus 5x is 12x. And then this is easy, divide by 12, divide by 12, x equals 4. So now I know what x equals, so I can come in here and substitute. 3 times 4, so this means that this side is 12. 4 times 4, which means this side is 16, and 5 times 4, which means this side is 20. So we're looking for the longest side, and the longest side is 20 inches. And just to verify, if you add 12 plus 20, it's 32, and 32 plus 16 is 48, which is the perimeter of the triangle. 7, he typed 110 words in 2 3/4 minutes. How many words can he type in 4 1/4 minutes? So, the answer, okay, so I would have changed this to a, what do you call it? So again, we need to find the multiplier times this mystery number over here, which is the same as the mystery number over here on top. So 2 3/4 times something equals 4 1/4. So I will change that to, what do you call it, decimal. So I actually have 2.75 times this mystery number equals 4.25. So if I want to find this mystery number, all I got to do is divide, right? 4.25 divided by 2.75, and that's going to give me, that's not going to work because it's going to give me a repeating decimal. So I'm actually going to, please ignore everything I just said, and let's just keep it as a fraction. So to find that mystery number, it's still the same process. 4 1/4 divided by 2 3/4. So we're going to leave it as a fraction. 4 times 4 is 16, so this is 17 over 4. Divided by 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3, 11 over 4. So 17 over 4 times 4 over 11, right? Because it's the reciprocal. We multiply by the reciprocal, so it's going to be 17 over 11. So the multiplier as a fraction is 17 over 11, which means I'm going to multiply the top by 17 over 11. So 110 times 17 over 11. I can simplify. 11 divided by 11 is 1, and 110 divided by 11 is 10. So now 10 times 17 is 107. And here's my answer. 8, a recipe for, let me do 11. A glass of aqua color paint require 5 pints of blue, 5 blue, 4 white, and 3 yellow. Right? A painter wants to make 20 pints of aqua paint. How much yellow paint should he use? So, it's a ratio of 5 to 4 to 3. So think about this. So if I have 5 blue, 4 white, and 3 yellow. So if I had 5 pints of blue, 4 pints of white, and 3 pints of yellow, what's my total? So it would be 5 plus 4, which is 9, plus 3, which is 11. So I would have 11 pints, right? So, and then if I want to change my total, instead of what would happen if I had 20 pints, really? 5 times 4 is, this should be 12, sorry. 12 pints. So currently, when I have 5, 4, and 3, I have 12 pints. What happens when I have 20 pints? How much of a yellow, how much white, and how much blue will I have? So find the multiplier. 12 times something equals 20. 12 times something equals 20. So you can divide 20 by 12. Find the multiplier, which is 1.666. Or I can do this. 20 divided by 12 is, what do you call, leave it as a fraction. Divided by 4 is 5, divided by 4 is 3, 5/3. So the multiplier is 5/3. Okay, So it's times 5/3 over here, times 5/3 over here, and times 5/3 over here. So when we want to know how much yellow paint would there be, well, it's 3 times 5/3. Cross, cross, you get 5. Then I'm going to do the rest just to verify. 4 times 5/3, which is 20 over 3, or 6 2/3. And then 5 times 5/3, it's going to be 25 over 3, which is 8 1/3. And if you add all this, it should get 20. It should get you 20 points, and it does, because 8 plus 6 is 14. 1/3 plus 2/3 is 1, so it's 14 plus 1 is 15, plus 5 gives me 20. So we only want a yellow, which is 5 points. Eight, a recipe calls for 3.5 ounces. Did I just do this? 3.5 ounces of fruit mix to make to make 4 glasses of punch. So I'm going to write 4 glasses of punch. Based on this recipe, how many glasses of this punch can be made for a 32-ounce bottle of fruit mix? What the heck? Hang on a second. Ounces, 3 1/5 ounces. 32 ounce. So if I had 32 ounces of fruit mix, how many glasses would I have? So I'm missing this number over here. So again, 3 1/5, which is the same thing. And this one actually is worth to change to a decimal, because 3 1/5 is 3.2. Is there a relationship between 3.2 and 32? And the relationship is times 10. 3.2 times 10 is 32, so this is going to be times 10 as well. And 4 times 10 is 40. So it's 32 ounces of fruit mix. I can get 40 glasses of punch. 8 or 9, the ratio here is 3, 3, 2, 4. So obviously this is 3, because, no, obviously, not obviously. This line means that these two are congruent. So this is 3, this is 3, this is the smaller side, 2, and that's 4. But not 2, but 2x, 4x, 3x, 3x. If the perimeter is the trapezoid 72, what's the longest side? So again, 2x plus 3x plus 3x plus 4x equals 72. 6, 8, 8, so that's 12x equals 72. And divide by 12, x equals 6. So I know that the value of x equals 6. So 2x, which is 2 times 6, which means this is 12. This is 18. 3 times 6 is 18. This is also 18. And then the bottom one, 4 times 6 is 24. If you add all these, you should have 72, which indeed I do, because 12 plus 24 is 36, and 18 plus 18 is 36, and 36 plus 36 is 72. So the final answer is 24. This one, Mr. Anderson is making a snack for a field trip. There's raisins, chocolates, and candies and raisins, chocolate candies, and peanuts in the ratio of 2, 2, 3. So 2, 2, and 3. I'm going to write raisins, chocolate, and peanuts in the ratio of 2 to 2, 2, 3. So imagine for a second, if I currently had this ratio 2, 2, 3, I would have a total, and I have a total of how many cups? 2, 4, 7 cups, right? At the bare minimum. Now I want to change that, because I want to make 42 cups. So if I'm making 42 cups, how much of each ingredient will I need? Well, look at your multiplier. The relationship here is times 6, so you multiply everything times 6. 2 times 6 is 12, so I need 12 cups of raisin, 12 cups of chocolate candies, and 18 cups of peanuts. 18 plus 12 is something, 30, and 30 plus 12 is 42, and that matches what we want. You could have done a tape diagram just for you. No, just do it because raisins, chocolate candies, and peanuts. So if you do a tape diagram, remember from last year, I'm gonna set it up my tape diagram. Right, each box represents 1 unit, 1 cup, 1 cup. So I have 1 cup, 2 cups for the raisins, 2 cups for the chocolate candies, and 3 cups for the peanuts. Now I know that this whole thing from here, all these boxes together have to add up to 42. So if I have 7 boxes and each box has the same amount, and 42 divided by 7, I get this. Right? So I'm going to need 12 cups of raisins, 12 cups of chocolate candies, and 18 cups of peanuts, which is what I had before. Just in case you guys prefer doing that from last year. 13. A total of 8,000 runners started a long-distance race. The results of the race are listed below. 3/16 of the runners finished the race in less than 4 hours. 0.65 of the runners finished the race in 4 hours or more. So now this, I'm just going to quickly change it to 65% if you're more comfortable, or 65 or hundreds, right? So I'm just wrote in 3 different ways depending on what we needed. And the rest of the runners did not finish the race. So calculate the number of runners who finished a race in less than 4 hours. So there were 8,000 runners. So I'm going to multiply that by 3/16. And 3/16, so if I divide 8,000 divided by 16, so I get that this is equals to 1,500. So 1,500 runners finished the race in less than 4 hours. That's not bad. 65%, and then calculate the number of runners who did not finish. Well, 65% of the runners did finish a race in 4 hours or more. So again, I'm going to take that and again, keep it as a decimal. So 8,000 times 65, or 65%. So if I wanted to find 65% of the population there, times 0.65 gives me 5,200. So these guys finished in less than 4. These guys finished in more than 4. So if I add those two, I get 6,700. And it says that the rest didn't finish. So the difference between 6,700 and 8,000, which is 1,300, is the number of runners that did not finish. Wow, that's a lot. 15. Glenn sells clothes at his store. He changes some prices. The original price of the jacket was $30. Right? So if you increase it by 10, you can multiply it by 1.3. And 30 times 1.3 equals, so the price is now $39. What is the new price of the jacket after the increase? $39. Those of you who actually want to do this, 30, what do you call? No. 10. Sorry, I increased it. I multiplied by 30%, so it should have been $30 times 1.10. Okay, which gives us 33. Those of you who don't like this method and you want to use the other one, so 30 times 0.10, which is 10%, is 3. So 30 plus 3 equals $33. So again, you get both answers. So now the jacket is $33. That's it. The original price of sneakers was $50. He increased it by 20%, so I'm going to multiply this by 1.2. So 50 times 1.2, so now the sneakers are $60. And then he increased it again by 20%, so I'm going to multiply by 1.2 again. 60 times 1.2, right? And that's going to give me 72. So now the price of sneakers is 72. And then in July, he increased it again by 20%. So times 1.2 equals 86.4. So the final price of this sneaker was 86.4. We're going to ignore this one because I don't know what that rest is. All right, so, and again, if you didn't like that and you want to do it 50 times 20%, which is 10. So 50 plus 10 is $60. That's the first increase. Second increase, we're going to multiply 60 times 20% again. That's going to give us 12. So 60 plus 12 is 72. And then we're going to increase it again. We're going to multiply it again by 0.2. And 72 times 0.2 is going to be 14.40. And 72 plus 14.40 gives us 86.4. So either way, doesn't matter. You could have actually done this in your calculator. 50 times 1.2 times 1.2 times 1.2, which is the same thing as we did, all in one shot, you would have gotten the answer. So I'd much rather you do it that way. 14. Original ticket price of a shirt is $25.99. During a clearance, the shirt sells for 40% off with an additional 25% off. So let's calculate that. So if you have $25.99, right? So think about this for a second. So if this is 0%, 100%, $0, and 100% of your values, you're at $25.99. So you can, if you can take 40% off, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, think about this, you still have to pay for 60% of your t-shirt. So you could have just multiplied this by 0.6, 25.99 times 0.6, and the new price of your shirt rounded 15.6, no, it's 15.59, and we're going to take another 25% off, so your new price is 15.59. If you take 25% off, you're still responsible for 75%, and 15.59 times 0.75 equals, you're now paying $11.69. All right, that's one way of doing it. And again, those of you who want to do it the other way, you can multiply. So again, the first discount was 40%, 0.4. 25.99 times 0.4 equals 10.40. That's your discount. So 25.99 minus 10.4, you get 15.59, and you can tell, look, it's the same price after the first discount. And then 15.59, you're going to take 25%, right? So I'm going to multiply that by 25% to see how much that discount is. And 15.59 times 0.25 equals 3.98. So that's your second discount. So you would do 15.59 minus 3.98. And 1 and 15 minus 9 is 6. And 12.61, something, 11.61. Why is there such a difference? Did I do something wrong? I might have done something wrong. Hang on a second. 25.99 times 0.4 equals 10.40. Okay, so 15.59 times 0.25 equals 3.L. Here's my mistake. It's 89. I wrote 98, so 89. This should have been 89. And this would given you zeros. What do you call it? 15 minus 8, 7. You're going to get a very tiny difference because of the rounding, but the same price. 11.69, 11.70. I'm pretty sure the machines do it this way instead of this way. Okay. So 11.69 is your price. The second part of the question says, how come the store doesn't just say, hey, you know what? Instead of giving you a discount 40% first and then 25%, why don't we just give you a discount 65%? Why we don't add these two and give you a discount 65%? So let's find out what that is. The 25.99, sorry, not 20, yeah, 25.99. Imagine if you had, and you had 65% discount. If you had 65% discount, I'm just going to do the overview, right? So 25.99 times 0.65, that means your discount is $16.89. That's your discount. So the price of your shirt was $25.99, and if you take away 16.89, which is your 65% discount, and what is this? 15 minus 6 is 9, and guess what your t-shirt price is? It's $9.10. So what does that mean? It means that the store doesn't want you to add these two, because that becomes 65%, and taking a 65% of a number, or breaking up into 40 and 25, taking that 65 larger part, it's obviously going to give you a bigger discount, and obviously the store loses a little bit more, right? So instead, I guess they use that tactic. Hey, come tomorrow, you get 40% off, and if you sign up for our email, we'll give you another 25% off, right? So if you, a lot of people think, hey, I'm getting 65%, which you're not. Okay, it's completely different. Okay. Leo works 22.5 hours each week and earns $9.48 per hour. What amount of money does he earn each week? So let's multiply 22.5 times 9.48, and that's going to give us, so he makes $213.30, and taxes, $25.60 in taxes taken away. So if you take that away, he ends up taking home $187.70. What percent of Leo's earnings is taken out for taxes? Show or explain how you got your answer. So this is a percent of decrease. Now again, remember the percent of decrease or change. So we have our final, which is $187.70. The original was how much she made, right? 213 over 30 minus the original. So you're gonna get a negative number, and of course it's negative because the price went down or his earnings went down. So on your calculator, 187.70 minus 213.3 equals negative 25.6, which we're now going to divide that by 213 divided by 213.3, and that's going to give us 0.12 as a decimal, and if you change that to a percent, 12%. So how much was his tax rate? His tax rate was a 12% tax rate. Okay. So Leo wants to buy, what he wants to buy, a car that costs $3,000. He plans to save all his earnings that remains after taxes. What is the minimum number of hours that he must work? So what I'm going to do is that we know that he makes after taxes 187.70, right? So and he made that by working 22.5 hours. So I'm going to say that 187.7, which is how much he took home for working 22 and a half hours. So in reality, after taxes, 187.70 divided by 22.5, he was working not for $9.48, but $8.34. That's how much he was actually getting paid if you take the taxes out. So we want to know he has to work. So every hour he gets $8.34, and he wants to amass $3,000. So let's just divide 3,000 divided by 8.35, 4 of hours. That means he's going, oh my God, that can't be right. 1, 2, 3 divided by 8.34. No, that is right. He has to work for 359 hours, 0.71. Not 71 minutes, so hours. Well, let's just round it. If it's just by hours, 360 hours. That's a long time to work for this. Okay, but it probably pays off because he gets a car. And that's day dos.